Blessings. Blessings and welcome. Good morning, everyone. Maybe it hasn't started. Okay, here we are. We are here. I was having just a minor little technical difficulty there, but here we are. And I'm so very grateful to be with you here this morning. Oh, blessings and welcome, everyone. I am so very grateful. Thank you if you're just stopping by for the very first time. It is such a joy to have this platform, to have this beautiful community to share with. This is 4D Trinity, my YouTube live stream. I go live every week and we discuss everything spiritual, metaphysical, and multidimensional. Again, thank you so much, all of the new subscribers. I pray and I affirm that everything here truly serves your path of spiritual growth and sovereignty, that you may learn to be a master of your time and space, no matter where you find yourself in time and in space. And speaking of that, this morning's theme is memory magic and timelines. Who are you now? And are you being the fullest, beautiful, brightest version of yourself that you can be right now? I think this is interesting. Yesterday I was musing over this idea that we share these concepts of new moon and full moon and how we can use this time, right, of this moon cycle to align ourselves with those aspects that we truly wish to embody, that we know are truly ours, that we know are a part of our makeup, yet we have not fully come into them yet. And in this week's tarot reading, which I have yet to post, I'll be posting it directly after this live stream, there's a theme of really forgetting what you don't want to know about yourself and boldly stepping into the versions of you that are absolutely, without limitation, fully of your heart's design. And that is such a massive theme for us somehow on this earth plane, to forget the shadow, to forget the dark, to forget those memories that hold us back, to forget the past. And I love this idea of forgiving, right? Forgiveness is such a potent alchemy, right, tool that we have at our disposal in our toolkit at any time. And it directly links us to the heart center. Our ability to forgive directly connects us and puts us in attunement and alignment with not only our heart, but the heart that we share, the one love that we share, that is, as I teach, the absolute truth, the backdrop through which all other levels of consciousness lay upon. Underneath that, as we erase and we use our magical minds, our ability to exercise our free will, to forgive, to forget, to release, to cut cords, what we are doing is we are shifting our own being from existing on one timeline trajectory of how our life may happen for us into new, freed up, unlimited paradigms of how life can show up for us and how we can show up in greater ways for life. And this is so very exciting to me. You know, I think about health. Excuse me. I think about health, and I think about how often there are so many people, whether it's yourself or it's others in your life, that have been given a certain notice about their health, that have been given a certain demonstration that would say, you have this disease, you have this illness. Well, it looks like X, it looks like Y, it looks like Z. And our amazing and miraculous ability to shift what has been told to us, to decide again, to choose again, to change our circumstances by simply changing our mind about things. And we remember that the mind is where we are all joined. All minds are joined. All minds are joined through love. And all minds are also joined through fear. And it is always our choice of what we are going to choose. So we learn how to exercise our free will to bring us into greater union with the truth within us, to choose consciously the thoughts, the words, the actions, the memory that we decide to hold. And that gives rise to new paradigms, to new timelines for us to exist within. There's this famous channel called Jay-Z Knight, who became very popular from being one of the individuals interviewed in that amazing movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? You have to see it if you haven't seen it yet. And she was diagnosed with lung cancer. Now, and I'm paraphrasing, so please forgive me if I don't have the actual story complete and correct, but she was diagnosed with having, to the best of my memory, an issue with the lungs, right? Lung cancer. Now, she was also a heavy smoker for many, many, many years. And the instant that she received that diagnosis, not only did she stop smoking, but she decided that she would no longer have or hold any memory in any way, shape, or form that she ever smoked at all, that her lungs had ever come into contact with any tobacco or any harmful substance that would cause them to shift in such a way that her immune system would reflect cancer or illness. She dropped it. She dropped it in the third dimension, in the 3D, by releasing the actual habit, the third dimensional practice that gave rise to a 3D reality in her physical 3D body. And on a different level, on a 4D level from her heart, she initiated these thought forms and recreated a new memory for her body through which the body was able to forget that she had ever touched a cigarette, that she had ever gone near any of those practices that would have given rise to lung cancer. And she was able to heal herself. Isn't that amazing? And then we think about Louise Hay, who had had an upbringing, a very famous writer who has now passed away. But we think about her very famous writing on the metaphysical principles of using thought and word, and how we can replace old patterns of thought with new patterns of thought and shift the memory within us. Use that magical ability, which is just simply any person's ability who is deciding to use that level of awareness to change their circumstances through changing their mind. She had been raped when she was younger. She had gotten cancer, and she healed her life by simply changing her mind about things. Isn't that incredible? Is there a health situation? Is there a situation in your life now that you are dragging with you, that has come with you from your past, that goes with you everywhere you go? Whether it's your past from your childhood or your youth, or something that even just happened up until a few weeks ago. What is it? What is there ready to be changed for you now so that you can use this new moon, or just any day of the moon, this cycle, to bring yourself into a greater paradigm of what you want to be true, of what you know is true to you in your heart. There's a story of Brother Anandamoy, who was a disciple of Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda, who has also now passed away, but there's many amazing lectures by him. And he tells a story about a young boy who had gotten badly burnt in an accident. And he was burned all the way up through his legs, up through his torso. And the doctor had at one point told him, "You're never going to walk again." And instantly the boy said, "I will walk again." Determined. He was changing his circumstances by changing his mind, by using memory magic. At that moment, he could have allowed that and those words that the doctor told him to create a deep, deep, rigid memory within him, through which all of the cells in his body would have to salute and say, "Okay, I believe that." But instantly, he caught it and he flipped it and he said, "I will walk again." And the story proceeds in letting us know that as time went on, he actually healed and he became one of the fastest runners and he won an Olympic medal. It's like a crazy, beautiful story like that. And these stories, right, can be called magical, they can be called miracles, but ultimately, this is our divine inheritance, to be able to change our circumstances by changing our mind, changing our memories of how we see things, of how we feel about things. And again, I am an absolute believer and a knower in not only the ability to forgive what has come in the past, but to be able to forgive so hard, so deeply, so truly that you actually begin to forget. Because let us consider this. There is an aspect of us that remembers on a physical level any pain, any trauma, any violence, any acts of whatever it is, everything. Our whole body is a tape recorder recording everything that we experience. And so what if we can tap into that paradigm? What if we can tap into that paradigm and forgive so, so deeply that we actually forget that the cellular memory in our bodies is given a break, is given a new way to see things, or is simply just erased? all those memories are erased from the cellular memory of the physical body. But then there's also the mental continuum, your mental body, all of those constructs individually that you have thought of that have given rise to making a certain situation, whether it's the past or in your mind the future of a circumstance, that has given it weight, density, gravity in this 3D. There's a mental continuum that is both your own individual and the collective level of how you plug in to the collective of others that have ever thought those thoughts that you think, that have ever felt those feelings that you feel connected to that memory. There is also the emotional, right, continuum of how we feel, of how those thoughts trigger feeling within us. And can you imagine, think about the most hurtful, painful experience you've ever had in your life and how that affects you now. Take a breath and really feel into this. How does these things affect you? What is that experience? And again, it can be from your childhood. It could be something that just happened recently. And how is it affecting you now? And imagining if you can use memory magic, right? If you can change your mind about things and erase your mental memory, all of those threads that connect you to those parts of yourself and that connect you to the collective that agree, that say, yeah, that sucks. You should want to take some kind of a revenge. You should feel sorry for yourself for the rest of your life. It's no wonder you feel like a victim. And I'm not saying that the experiences we have are untrue or that they are not valid. In fact, we are validating them by honoring them. Yet that which no longer serves us and who we are being and becoming, to learn to loosen our grip and to release that. What if your mind forgot all of that stuff, that specific memory? What if your emotional body forgot how to react, how to respond, giving rise to the chemical memory in your cells? When we have a memory in our mental body and a certain string of thoughts and words that are connected to that, well, all of those have charge, all of those have weight. And they have charge in many different ways. And specifically, what we're talking about here is the way that they affect us emotionally and how that emotional response sends us on a certain timeline trajectory of us having certain experiences or not. Experiences that will attune us either into our sovereign freedom or not. So I want to read for you a little bit here. I did go on the Wikipedia and I looked up a few things. Blessings, Daniel. Thank you for joining us this morning. So I did look up this idea of magic because it is not a word. If you follow me, then you know it is not a word that I use regularly. And I wanted to just look up a few of these different aspects. So magic, and just going to Wikipedia. Magic. Paranormal, the use of paranormal methods to manipulate natural forces. Magic illusion, the art of appearing to perform supernatural feats. Well, this takes us to what is paranormal. Paranormal events are phenomena described in popular culture, folk, and other non-scientific bodies of knowledge, whose existence within these contexts is described to lie beyond normal experience or normal scientific explanation. The most notable paranormal beliefs include those that pertain to ghosts, extraterrestrial life, unidentified flying objects, psychic abilities, or extrasensory perception. So then let's look up the word supernatural. This word is used for things that some people believe are real, but that are not part of nature. Why are they not a part of nature, I thought? Because supernatural, the word nature, natural, is in the word supernatural. And it goes on to say they are not a part of nature because we cannot prove whether these things are real. People often disagree about these things. Supernatural pertains to magic, miracles, souls, spirits, ghosts, angels, demons, UFOs, all that paranormal stuff. Again, it sort of loops back in on itself. But the supernatural is used for things that some people believe are real, but that are not a part of nature because we cannot prove whether these things are real. People often disagree about these things. Yet for those people, like that woman who was diagnosed right, with the lung cancer. And she decided to drop it at that exact moment, to drop that memory that she had ever smoked, to forget that she was even given that diagnosis, like the little boy who was burnt and who was told he would never walk again, and where he decided, I will walk again. All of these things, we can call these supernatural. We can call these magic. And really, it's yes, it is manipulating timelines. It is manipulating energy and forces, yet we are not going outside of ourselves to do this. If there's any manipulating of anything, it is working with the alchemy that resides within you first and foremost. So we are never here to force a will upon anyone else. We are never here to push against the nature of the divine hologram that is at play in the collective, right? Everything we do here is for the highest good, and we do it from ourselves here. Today, we're doing it from ourselves here first, so that those shifts can occur from deep within us and then resonate from without. So memory magic speaks to your ability to understand that your memory, that what you think you are, that all the stories you've been told about who you are and how the world works are malleable. They are bendable. They are changeable. And that's what we're talking about with manipulation, because I know this word has a lot of stigma. Okay, so again, we are not doing any weird woo here. You are simply participating in choosing consciously the timeline, the trajectory upon which you are going to move into your life. So is there a certain illness? This has been up this week a lot. Is there a certain health issue that you know you don't want or that has been coming up, that your body's been showing you, or a doctor's appointment that has shown you something that you know that this is definitely not your destiny? You are going to decide to see things differently. You're going to change your mind, and so change your circumstances. Well, right now, I invite you to release that memory. And here, one of our tools is we erase it and we place love there. So if you are guided to place a new memory there and you don't know what to put there, erase it and place love there. And even if you have to do that over and over and over again, because what we're doing is we're moving into a tipping point. We are shifting the tipping point from love to fear, right? And from fear to love. And ultimately, when we think about our lives, these new beginnings, these abilities for us to show up in new and expanded ways, who are you? How can you be more of yourself? And what memories are holding you back? What painful past experiences do you hold in your cellular memory, in your mental continuum, in your emotional continuum, that keep you bound in that loop of having those experiences over and over again? And today we're here to understand the idea that those things can change, that we can change them. Blessings, Ankit. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Okay, so again, how much of forgiving is forgetting? When you forgive today, who can you forgive? And how would that set you free? Who can you forgive and then forget all of those experiences related to that situation? And how would that free your energy? How would that allow a divine moment, a divine happenstance to happen through which your DNA actually began to shift, to change? Deepak Chopra and Greg Braden, Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, all the big players, right? They all talk about that it's really as simple as that. And that in one moment, by shifting our thoughts, by shifting our words, our DNA responds and it starts to replicate in pattern, in sync with those thoughts, with the new information. Yet at the same time, it's also syncing all of those old patterns and stories and memories that we have within us. And the idea is to imagine that there's a tipping point, right? Again, of love and fear. And we want to tip that tipping point of our memories to the point where there is more love than fear, so that that becomes a reality. And that's when we start to enter 4D. If we think about the traditional chakra system, first chakra, 1D, second chakra, 2D, third chakra, 3D, fourth chakra is the heart, is 4D consciousness, is living from the truth in our hearts first and foremost. And from there, yes, 5D, 6D, however many Ds you want to add on to that. But it's coming into that space of your heart, knowing what is true to you, knowing what you want to be true to you, and having the boldness and the courage to living that. Marianne Williams says of free will, and I love this, that it is your free will is your ability to think anything you want. And we all have that ability, no matter where you find yourself or what circumstance you are in. We all have the ability to think whatever thought we want, no matter what situation you are in. And understanding that your thoughts then connect you individually to the collective, pipe back to you the reality that matches it. You vibrate as that, and so attract more of those situations to you to validate. I often say validate, but I don't think there's an extra syllable in that. You know, what is true to you? Do you want the health and the healing and the freedom and the sovereignty and the empowerment to be true, or do you want the victimhood and the pain and the regret and the shame to be true? And that at any given moment, we are so malleable, right? We did a water body of miracles for Trinity later. I'll come and I'll put a link up here. And it just goes to show us that the moment that we bless our water, that we bless our food, that we bless ourselves, that we bless our creations and one another, it changes the molecular structure of the water. It changes the molecular structure of the body of water that we inhabit here. And it changes, right? Then what attracts, what comes into our field of experience. So we shift a timeline. We can shift a timeline of illness, of pain, of sorrow. We can use forgiveness. We can place love there. We can use that ability to speak new words over our past, new affirmations. We can choose to truly allow what no longer serves us to be gone. And I speak from my own experience over many, many years of healing trauma in my life, which is most of my trauma is here in this book, The Reiki Apprentice. And I know this book has gone through many incarnations. The inside, the story has always been the same. And there have been different covers to this book. And this is the final cover now. The Reiki Apprentice embodies my entire life story and my apprenticeship with a Reiki Grandmaster and a trance channeler who dispenses amazing multidimensional and metaphysical energy tools that myself and a small group learned to heal our lives with. And I'll tell you that all of the healing that I have learned how to do, from both Reiki to the metaphysics of changing my mind, of placing love, of learning how to activate my light body, have indeed there it goes again, has indeed allowed me to forget again so hard, to forgive so hard, to forget so deeply that I no longer even have the memory. And there's faint memories, though. It's so interesting because you will be in a situation, you will know when you have forgiven and are near that edge of really fully forgetting, because you will be in one of those circumstances where in the past you would have been triggered with anger, triggered with jealousy, triggered with some kind of a heavy emotion that would take you in that tipping point of fear. And you'll realize and you'll see yourself there and you'll say, oh my gosh, things are really shifting. I'm really shifting into a different timeline here, because I'm not reacting as that other version of myself. I am not responding as that old version of myself, as that victim or as that hurt person. And you begin to live a very different timeline, one that is more attuned and aligned with the truth that you are, that we are. Love and only love, love and light. Oh, blessings from Portugal. Carlitos. Thank you so much for joining. That's so interesting that you're joining from Portugal, because I've been given different downloads about Portugal and how that may be a place I will end up in the, who knows, the near or the not so near future. So blessings and welcome. I'm so very grateful for everyone tuning in and for all of the new subscribers. I'm really, really, really touched by that. And again, I pray that everything I offer here truly serves your path of spiritual growth and sovereignty. So memory miracles, changing your mind can change your circumstance. And we think about this idea, these scientific ideas that speak to this observer effect. Well, first, that speak to the Heisenberg principle, which talks about the moment that a scientist, with these fancy microscopes and whatnot, the moment that they can say that is the exact point where that atom is, that is the exact place where that molecule is. They know this. from the Heisenberg principle that the exact next moment after that, they haven't got a clue where it's going to pop up or show up. And I believe that that's because we are a melding pot of this collective consciousness, and through the causal realm of potential possibilities happening and activating through all time and space, through all dimensions in this quantum, amazing, beautiful hologram that we live in. There is nothing set in stone, and this is your freedom. This is our gateway, right? And the key is love. It's knowing that nothing is set in stone, and that anything you wish, anything that you know is true in your heart and truly desire, and obviously that does not cause harm to you or to others, is yours, is the gift that you are here to experience as a gift for you, but also as a gift for everyone else. And we know that as our puzzle piece becomes illumined and enlightened, that we open the way for others by default, by simply you honoring your truth, by you using your memory in a new way to create magic, to create miracles, to access and tap that paranormal realm that is not necessarily scientifically, right, noted, where there's not so much evidence. Unless you go and you do your research, then you see there is a lot of evidence about this stuff, of how we can affect our realities. But that's what we're doing, is we're using all of these tools and all of this medicine and just reawakening the availability of our DNA, of our ability, of the love that is within us to come back, to come home to your power. And our power is always rooted in love, in you being the most beautiful version of you that you can. And often this journey in the 3D, this journey in this physical body has to do with coming home to that, has to do with the releasing, the relinquishing of those parts of ourselves, of those stories of ourselves that would tell us otherwise, that would tell us that we have to live in pain, that we have to believe in fear, that the world is out to get us, etc., whatever it is that is fear-based, right? So let me go ahead and have another look here. Thank you so much, everyone, for dropping a line. Blessings from Germany. I'm so very, very grateful. Thank you. This beautiful global collective. Blessings, and thank you so much for joining. So in speaking about that, so thinking about this body of miracles, right? This water body of miracles, and how at the instant, the moment that we decide different, that we change our minds about something, all of a sudden we are given a new set of opportunities to exist in, a new set of dimensional potentials and skills. And the God phone is ringing. Let's see. Blessings. Good morning. Hey, God. What's up? Yes, it has been a very, very crazy night and a crazy morning for me, but here we are, and I'm so very grateful. God wants me to offer a definition of what God is when we talk about God here at 4D Trinity. Yes. And what would you have me say? Wow. The experience, God is the experience of oneness realization. That is so beautiful. It's coming back to the one, which is the zero. I love that. Thank you so much, God. So what are we going to do today? Uh-huh. Okay, yes, I'll read a little bit from that. Okay, blessings. God says hi, everyone. Okay, namaste. Bless. Yes, here at 4D Trinity, you know, I was not brought up with any religious background or doctrine. Yet what we talk about here is bridging heaven on earth. And that is being in the world and not of it. It is using our conscious memory, our consciousness, our hearts, our minds, our words, our actions to embody the truth in our hearts. And the more that we do that, the more that we live in a very different landscape that is not the landscape painted by the media or the society or all the horrible, awful stories that we've been told. What if we can just skip and jump? What if we, again, can forgive and forget so deeply, so hard that we can skip and we can jump into a completely different timeline of memory, not only individually, but collectively, right? And so heaven on earth is this 4D consciousness. This is the space of living in the heart, living from the heart, living your truth boldly, courageously, and passionately, to the point that all those timelines, all those parts of you in your memory that had existed up until this point that do not serve you living in your true love and light, all of those disappear. They vanish because you love so hard, because you trust your truth so deeply that you allow yourself to honor it and follow through. So God wants us to read a little bit here this morning. Oh, blessings, expand, expand is here. Nice one. Thank you. I love the bracelet. Thank you, dear. Yes, it was guided to be worn this morning. So again, here's another book of mine, How to Manifest with the Law of Vibration. All of my links are down in the Show More box. And actually, this book, you may not be able to purchase it just at this moment on Amazon because I'm making an updated version of it at this moment. A second edition. So it's interesting. God wanted us to read a little bit from this book. If you are not making decisions as your higher self, how can life show up to meet you in authentic ways? How can the outcome of any decision you make without heart match the true you and bring you lasting contentment? When making decisions, affirmations, choices as yourself, with the little s, your point of view comes from a mental place of lack, neediness, stress, and anxiety. The little self always seeks to feel better by attaining more stuff on the outside. Perceptions of the little self include believing there is a lack of time, a lack of energy, a lack of resources, support, money, health, and overall goodness in the world to meet and lift them up. Right? And the founding principle of lack begets stress. And stress is birthed from a fragmentation of mind and body, which causes anxiety. Yet when we attune with the self with the big S versus the self with the little s, we are honoring the call of our heart. And so no matter how grand or modest you think your calling is, you begin to live authentically and you practice self-love by default. And in doing so, a universal supply is created from which all is provided for by you simply honoring your truth. So in a way, if there is this notion that you can save the world, which I do believe binds us to a realm of seeing that the world needs help and can get us caught in a loop whereby we have to continually save the world. And according to A Course in Miracles, saving the world is about you simply knowing that love is the truth and that everything that you see that is not love, that does not reflect love, is illusion. And so instantly collapsing those timelines of fear. It's again, we're going to moving from the tipping point of fear to the tipping point of love. And when we access the musculature of the higher self, of that version of ourselves with the capital S, we are tuning and aligning with that part of us that is directly connected to God, if you call it God, right? And whatever definition you give God, or to love, if you want to call it love, to universe, to the angelic realm, to source, whatever name you give it. When we do that, we are connecting to that. And so going back to this observer principle, the moment you observe something, the scientists say that that is the exact moment, after that moment, that you have no idea what's going to happen next. And this is the divine, spontaneous, amazing miracle and magic that we exist in constantly. Yet, for so often we have and we entertain the same thoughts over and over again. I've said this before. It is said that we have 70,000 thoughts or so a day. And it is also said that the majority of those thoughts are thoughts that we have thought already for years, for 10, 20, 30 years. They're the same thoughts rerunning and replaying over and over and over through us. And if we think about how our thoughts have such a powerful way to guide us, whether we are conscious, unconscious, whether they come through the subconscious, to guide the way that we live and to create the filters through which we perceive our experiences around us. And again, are we perceiving love or are we perceiving fear? Are we perceiving ourselves as being a victim or are we perceiving ourselves as being free and sovereign? And the choice is constant. Observer effect. In one moment, you can be a victim. In one moment, you can hold all the memory of fear, of pain in the world. And the next moment, when you decide, you can shift that and shift into a different timeline of yourself and, in effect, experience others in your communities, in your surroundings in that new way too. Because remember, when you shift timelines, you are not bringing with you those denser, heavier field of thought where you are going into the 4D, And so I guess we can think about it. We're moving from this 3D consciousness, right, where there is love or fear, this binary plane of consciousness that is love or fear, into the 4D, where yes, there is love and fear, but there is also that way home, that principle where love and only love exists, where there are an infinite other options that are based on love and only love, that do not bind us to just one small limiting way that we have to perceive or be in the world. Let me just have a look at the comment box here. Okay, blessings. So again, observer effect. Then, oh no, that was I'm sorry, pardon me, that was the Heisenberg principle. Then we go to the observer effect, that whatever you look at changes what you see. So the way that you see things changes how that thing looks to you. So these are two scientific principles, right, that are used often in quantum physics, especially. And so the way that we decide to see things changes the way those things appear to us. Well, this is absolute memory magic. If I can look at someone who I have felt has hurt me, who has made me a victim, who have caused me pain in the past, and if I can truly look at them and see through the illusion of all that stuff and see into their heart and forget all of that stuff that has been in the past and truly be present in the now, well, that is going to allow them molecularly, right, through a level of their atoms, metaphysically, according to the observer effect, it is going to change the way that I see them and the degree that I can hold that space of clarity, of love, of presence in that now moment, the depth and the power that I can hold that truly and honestly will have an effect on how that person, that place, that thing responds to me. How many times have you had that situation? And how it can flip just like that. I was in line at the grocery store the other day, and it was a long line, and people were getting really frustrated, and everything was in that tipping point of fear, and everyone was like, rolling their eyes and making grunting sounds and getting very, very impatient. And then someone, because someone had run to go get something, and then they were coming back, and then finally the line was moving again, and just like that, everyone started to lighten up. And then someone did a kind thing for another. And then, okay, so the thing that the woman brought to be charged up at the cash line, someone else behind me decided she wanted some of those. And I had let her go in front of me, and then she had to go run and go get more of those things. But it was this interesting mix, because on one hand, there was frustration that the line was taking so long in that little collective of the line. And on another level, anytime there was a perceived thing of someone doing something good, of me letting this woman go ahead of me in line, everyone was like, oh, whether they were aware of it or not, it was like, oh, they kind of got happy, and they saw, a kind deed being happened. And then the moment this lady wanted to run and go get something more, it was holding up the line again. They were like, oh, it went back into that fear thing. And then the moment she came back and she was smiling and she said thank you to everyone was like, oh, it's okay again. It's like, are we really this malleable? Yes, we are. Yet it is when we can stay in that field of love and only love that we will be unaffected by how many times the lady has to run back and forth, right? And that's like our life. How many times do we get to run back and forth and create memory miracles for ourselves so that we can be the observer and affect that which is around us through our past, those thoughts that we have about the future, that bring us into a funneling and a greater alignment into the now moment, into the truth of who you are now. So again, it is said that we are made up of atoms, yet it is also said that there's more space between the atoms than there are actual atoms that make up this body. And what is that space in between? I believe that space is love. And as we align more and more with love, and we shift that tipping point more into the way of love versus fear, what I believe is that we actually start to slough off those atoms. And more space is created between them. For all the space that already exists, more and more space is created between them. And so we are more and more in tune and aligned with our true nature that is love. And so our ability to hold that becomes illumined. Higher self, the higher self, is the version of you that is the wisdom self. It is the version of you that knows how to be compassionate, that knows how to be loving and kind towards yourself and towards others. It is the part of you that knows how to heal itself. It is the part of you that knows how to forgive. It is the part of you that knows how to practice integrity, grace, and authenticity. And so the question here today is, how authentic are we being? To round it up, right at the beginning of this live stream, I was talking about how yesterday, or depending on where you are in the world, right, we have this new moon energy. And it's really, really asking us to step into these bigger versions of ourselves, right? How long are we going to keep procrastinating this issue that is requiring our healing? How long are we going to keep putting off stepping into that new timeline, that new version of ourselves that we can see ourselves in truly in our hearts and start to be and embody that in the world? So free will, we can think whatever we want. And your ability to see things differently, your ability to think about things differently is what changes your mind, is what changes your memory. And it is repetition. It is thinking about these things. Some things are very easy to change your mind about and to have a new thought, and all of a sudden it's done. And there are other things that take a rerunning, where there's more grids, where it's a denser thread of memory connected individually through you, but also that you may be connected to collectively, that you get to unbind yourself from every time you release, you forgive, you forget, you pray, you bless it, you cut the cords. And as you do this, again, you start to lighten your load. You tip the scales in the way of love versus fear. You shift from that binary system, that polarity, that duality, that separation system of the world, what the world has taught us, and you move into heaven on earth 4D consciousness, where you are in the world, but you are not of it, because you are bridging heaven on earth. You are bridging your truth. So we are going from possibility to probability. As we do these practices, as we just even entertain the idea of seeing things differently, of showing up differently, how can you show up today for yourself that is different from yesterday? How can you do that little bit or that lot more for yourself today? How can you connect to your higher self and start to use that magical, supernatural, what is called paranormal ability to move time and space, to shift your memory like a magician, like a divine alchemist, in way of seeing things differently, of perceiving things differently, of seeing yourself differently and the world around you differently. Memory magic, right? What you think about, you bring about. What you forget, you don't regret. And there are lessons, there are karmas, there are reasons why we remember things. And another part of this we can think about is that we'll keep remembering, and maybe less and less and less to the degree of hurt or pain, but we'll keep remembering like a loop, like a spiral, like an onion layer, those things that we need to remember as we learn those lessons that we get to garner from healing ourselves, from practicing self-love. And then we get to the base core center of that spiral, of that onion layer. And what are we left with? We are left with our truth, with ourselves, with our sovereignty, with our freedom. Sovereignty is you being the true you, uninhibited by limiting thoughts, uninhibited by the past, whatever you think the past is, by all of the patterns that have caused unhealing, that have caused regret, shame, fear, blame, all that stuff. We are moving into the heart. We are moving into the 4D. Shifting our memory. Remember, you have free will. That means you can think whatever thoughts you want. You do not need to think about the world in the way that you are told the world is, especially if those thoughts, if those notions, if those beliefs do not serve you, if they make you feel limited, if they make you feel afraid and scared. You know the truth by the way it feels. If you're having a certain thought about money or your health or a relationship and it makes you feel wobbly, it makes you feel fearful, then perhaps think about things in a different way. That's the exact moment you can use your memory magic to think about things again. Use your free will. How can I see this differently? And even if you don't know, you can ask your higher self, how can I see things differently? How can I see this differently? And even just by posing the questions, you're creating an open space. You're creating the correct conditions for a new timeline to come into your being. And when new timelines come into your being, you are invited to be even more truth of yourself. So you get to explore your supernatural power, your superhero power of being in the world and not being of it. And all of a sudden you have access to all of these mysterious supernatural powers because you are not playing by the game of love or fear any longer. You are playing the game from the place of truth in your heart, from the love that is always here, where the true miracles always happen. I pray and I affirm that what I'm sharing here is resonating, that you can take a seed or many seeds from this. If there are any questions, please feel free to drop a line in the comment box. I'm going to take a moment and think to myself if there are any last thoughts this morning. I am guided to play us out with the drum in a small meditation where we will connect with our higher self and where we'll begin to see ourselves truly. So coming back full circle to this idea of this new moon, of new beginnings, what version of yourself exists within you that you are ready to start walking in those moccasins? You are ready to start embodying that level of truth within you, that level of power, of sovereignty. What can you do today? How can you start to see things differently in your body, in your health, in your past? How can you shift that memory? Use your free will to think about things in a new way. And do this as a discipline throughout your day. And you will begin to experience those old patterns, those old relationships, the way that you interact with people, places, and things will begin to shift. And you will be creating new patterns and new timelines. Because if we have 70 to 100,000 thoughts every day, and the majority of those thoughts are the same thoughts that we've had repetitively on repeat for the majority of our lives, and then we're thinking, why can't life change? Why is life not changing? We get to look at those memories we hold and start to work this memory magic, start to consciously place those aspects that we wish to be true to us here and now. And sometimes it's repetition. It's doing that over and over again. And we call that repetition of practicing love, of using our word, our thought, our energy through the vehicle of love, through that power of the heart. We call that spiritual will, and that is a muscle, and we get to exercise that. And some things, again, in our lives that we seek to heal make us want to use that or cause us to use that spiritual will muscle more and more and more, but it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger throughout our lives, so that as we come into contact with people, places, and things of our past, we no longer have that charge. We no longer hold that memory in ourselves, in our minds, in our emotions, and we can be free and experience life in a new timeline. Greater self-love, greater self-worth, greater financial prosperity and abundance, greater perfect health, greater harmony, appreciation, understanding, compassion in our relationships, romantic, intimate, family, otherwise, in our careers, in our creative projects. How can you be more of yourself? How can you work with the memories that you hold about yourself and about life in general and about the world in general to start to create new patterns, right? Because whatever it looks like now in the 3D is not set in stone. Nothing is set in stone. You can change things for the highest good of all, for your highest good. You can change things through your memory, through changing your memory. Okay. So we're going to grab the drum. And we're going to take a moment to go within and take a breath. Either reclining or seated upright, we'll take a moment to close the eyes and relax into the space that we find ourselves. We call in our angels, we call in our guides, all those light beings who love us. Our animal totems, we thank you, we welcome you. We thank you, we welcome you. Taking a deep breath in and taking a deep breath out. The next inhale you take, imagine you are connecting to your higher self. And the next exhale you take, imagine you are exhaling the spaciousness, the consciousness of your higher self throughout every cell, throughout every part of your DNA, of your mind, your body, your emotions. Deep breath in, connecting to your higher self. Deep breath out, feeling that higher self-awareness, that consciousness expand around you, within you, and out through all time and space, through all dimensions. Now, connected to our higher self, we're going to ask our higher self to show us versions of ourselves, how we might show up in life, how things might look and feel as we create new memories and new timelines. We're going to imagine shrinking ourselves down and placing ourselves, envisioning ourselves, this tiny version of self at the center of your heart, the center of your chest, the center of your heart chakra. Feeling yourself here in this beautiful luminous space, the center of your heart. Imagine from this place, you can stand up. You see you are with your animal totems. You see you are with all of your angels and all of those light beings who love you. And as you stand up, you start to walk forward. And you see ahead of yourself an elevator. And the elevator doors open. You walk inside with all of your spirit guides. The elevator door closes. And you feel the elevator go down, 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 down. Down, 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 down. And then you arrive. The elevator stops. And the elevator door opens. And you see here, in the subconscious level of yourself, as you begin to enter into this space and leave that elevator, you begin to see yourself walk through all of the beliefs, the patterns, those decisions, those contracts and agreements that you've made with life, with your body, with your family, your friends, your finances, your career, your creativity, your truth. You see all of those agreements, all of those beliefs that no longer serve you. And you can see them in their multitude. You can see them different from all of those thoughts, all of those agreements that serve your true self, that serve your higher self. You can see the different ones. You can see them because they are fragmented. What color are they? Those ones that stand out in fear. All of those thoughts, those beliefs. And just feeling into this space here. Does it feel dense? Does it feel heavy? Can you breathe with ease in this place of the subconscious as you identify fear-based thoughts, as you identify fear-based beliefs and patterns, limiting notions, agreements you've made with yourself or with others through all time and space, through lifetimes? Just taking a snapshot of this feeling, of how this looks, of how this feels. And feeling a sense of the tipping scales. Where are the tipping scales at here when it comes to love, when it comes to fear? In that subconscious realm of mind that you carry within you at the base of your spine. What is of love? What is of fear? And without feeling affected here, just gathering information, looking around you and saying thank you to this environment, and making your way back to the elevator doors, and they open. You enter the elevator, again with all of your spirit guides. And now you see there are buttons on the inside of the elevator. Buttons 1, 2, and 3. You press button 1, and you go up, 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 up. You feel your body lifted in this elevator, and the elevator stops. The elevator doors open, and you walk out with all of your spirit guides into this new land here, and there is a mist around you. You feel deeply connected and rooted with your higher self. And as this mist surrounds you, and knowing and having a sense of all of those beliefs that are limiting, that are based in the past, based on pain, you step into this mist, connected to your higher self, and you say, show me, higher self. Show me the vision of myself that is free of these old patterns, that is free of the pain, free of the past memory. And let your higher self show you now. Imagine the mist clearing. And as the mist clears, there's a large, beautiful mirror in which you see yourself now. How do you see yourself? How does your higher self show you yourself now as this free version of you? How do you look? Are you wearing clothing? What is the dynamic of your physical health? Look at yourself. Look at your hair, your skin. Look at your body, your posture. And feel the higher self showing you through this mirror in this other dimension of self, showing you this illumined, activated version of you, the version of you that is ready to begin anew today, right now, the version of you that is free of the pain, free of any limiting past notions, agreements, contracts with yourself and otherwise. Feel yourself changing molecularly as you see this vision of yourself in the mirror come clear and clear and clear. Come clear and clear and clear. And in this mirror, your higher self is now showing you this warrior, this version of yourself as a warrior. What does this look like to you? What are you wearing? What jewels or charms or shields or staffs adorn you? You see yourself in this mirror as this warrior, adorned in all of those divine blessings, serve you in holding space as your higher self, that serve you in walking in this world, protected and safe, grounded and fearless. See this vision of yourself now, and breathe it in. See this beautiful, powerful warrior vision of yourself now, and breathe it in. Take a snapshot of the feeling, of the visual, and bow to yourself in this mirror, as if bowing in namaste, saying, thank you. Thank you, higher self, for this vision of myself, that I may remember my power, that I may remember this version of myself as I walk in the world. This powerful warrior version of myself that can face the shadow, that can face fear down. And saying thank you and giving your blessing, you take that memory with you, this feeling memory, feeling realization that you are empowered here. And you walk back to the elevator doors through the mist. The elevator doors open and you step in with all of your spirit guides. You press button number 2 and the doors close and you go up, 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 up. The doors open And again, you are met with this mist in the environment, this misty atmosphere as you step out with all of your spirit guides into this space now. You take a breath in and a breath out, and you feel yourself adorned now in this masterpiece, wearing all of your charms, all of your amulets, perhaps your shield, your staff, your crowns, whatever they may be. Feel yourself entering this new space, this new dimension now, connected to your higher self. You begin to walk forward through the mist. And again, the mist begins to dissipate. And you are shown another mirror that you stand in front of. And this time, in your reflection, you see yourself adorned as this beautiful warrior. And as this warrior, your higher self asks you, what are you ready to release right now? What are you ready to change your mind about right now? Where are you ready and willing to see things differently, to practice memory magic, to practice the supernatural, metaphysical within your being, your multidimensional being, through all time and space? The question, what are you ready to release, to let go, to heal? Look at yourself in this mirror as you are now, adorned with all of your gear, all of your warrior gear, and see the reasons why you are wearing these shields, the reasons why. See this in your eyes. Look into your eyes in this mirror. What is it of the pain of the past that has caused you to want to wear these shields, as beautiful as they are, as beautiful as they are? What is it about yourself, about your life, about another that you can change your mind about? That you can begin to shape-shift the memory of now? One thing. What is it today? What is it right now that will change the timeline for you from this very moment on of how you experience greater love, greater freedom in your life now? Look into your eyes in this mirror and know that your higher self is channeling through without trying too hard. Just allow your higher self to speak to you through your eyes as you gaze into this mirror. What are you ready to release right now? What memory are you ready to change now? And listen. It is often the first thing that comes. And imagine now, what would that new memory sound like? Are you ready to forgive? If you are, forgive right now. Are you ready to forget? I invite you to allow yourself to forget all of those aspects related to this situation that no longer serve your highest good. And with it, collapsing timelines, collapsing all that is unreal, allowing all that is real, pure, and true to you, that liberates and sets you free to reside. Do it now. Place a new thought here. Place a new set of words here. Changing the memory. Changing your memory. Changing your mind. Changing your emotional reactions and triggers. Changing timelines. Taking a deep breath and taking a snapshot, truly earnestly choosing to remember this memory, this new memory, choosing to remember this new thought, this new feeling. How does it feel within you to have this new memory? Who would you be without that old memory? Now looking into the mirror again, and all the shields and all the jewels and all the things that are protecting you and keeping you safe. Now, with this new memory, without the past, without that traumatic or that painful incident, whatever it is. Look at yourself and all of your jewels, all of your shields in the mirror. If you dropped, truly dropped that memory and allowed for something new, bigger and blessed to be, what shield would you drop now? What amulet, what jewel, what part of all of these shields would you let go of now? Look down at your body, look at yourself in the mirror, and see your higher self guiding this. See yourself, higher self guiding what is to be removed. And notice what you leave here. See yourself in the mirror removing the shield, the amulet, the earrings, the whatever it is, the piece of clothing. And then you take this item into your hands and you hold it out to the version of you in the mirror. The version of you wearing all of these shields, and imagine this part of you in the mirror extends out and receives what you are giving back to it. And as you do, and this version of you in the mirror receives what you're giving back, releasing of shields, it disappears. It disappears. It disappears. Those shields are gone. All of the reasons that you had to walk with them are gone. All of the reasons you needed to protect and keep yourself safe from them are now gone and filled with love, filled with light. Love and only love resides there now. Looking at yourself in your reflection in the mirror, connected to your higher self, all of your spirit guides surround you. Now you see yourself, maybe completely naked of shields, perhaps having released one item, two items, maybe more. But look at this reflection now and how you feel lighter, how you feel lighter. More space between the atoms, more space between the thoughts. Sacred energy, sacred space, activating within you and all around you. You have just performed energy alchemy. You have just performed energy alchemy. And with this knowledge, gazing into the mirror, see all of these shields, anything that is left upon your body, shifting, shape-shifting now. That they become, instead of shields and amulets for protection and safety, they become shields no more. They become amulets of knowing that you can trust your truth, that you can trust your light, that love is the truth. See yourself now as this reflection, as your inner alchemist. See this inner alchemist now look you back in the eye. And as this inner alchemist reflected in the mirror, notice how you transform. What do you look like here now? What do you look like here now? Are you wearing robes? Has your hair changed? What jewels adorn you, if any? See your inner alchemist shine in your reflection and take a snapshot here. Take a snapshot here. And in your memory, recalling this new memory, this new way of seeing things, this new way of being, this new way of holding space for yourself, you bow to yourself in that mirror. Your inner alchemist bows back at you as your reflection. And you have changed. You have changed. You turn now. Begin to walk through that mist with your spirit guides back to the elevator. The doors open. You enter again. The doors close. You press number 3. You go up, 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 up. You feel your tummy swoosh as the elevator moves up. The doors open. And again, you walk out with all of your spirit guides into the mist. You take a breath in. You take a breath out. And as you walk forward, again, you see a mirror, a huge, beautiful mirror in front of you. And you are your higher self. You are divinely and directly connected to and with your higher self. You have integrated your inner warrior. You have evolved your inner alchemist. And now, who stands there as your reflection? Who are you now as these integrated parts of your practice? As the warrior is healed, shields are released, the inner alchemy, the inner alchemist activated within you. What does this look like? Who are you now? What does your higher self guide you now to embody in this world today? To embody in this world right now. Look at yourself in the mirror and let the mirror show you a play, a small movie about yourself, about your life right now. And look and observe. What movie does your higher self show you? What movie reflects how you can embody the warrior within you being healed, the alchemist within you being activated, that you may join and align all of these powers into this physical form that you find yourself in on this 3D world? How can you bridge heaven and earth? How can you be that higher self today? Knowing that you have the wisdom of the alchemist and that healing power of your inner warrior that knows how to change the past, that knows how to alchemate past pain and turn it into power. What does your higher self show you now about yourself? How can you go about your day to be and embody your higher self, to be embody your truth? Watch now. Watch now. Watch now. What do you see yourself doing? Is it a different timeline than perhaps how you would be doing things in your day normally? Your higher self is guiding you, is inviting you to make one small shift, or maybe one great step today that will shift your ability to live in a new timeline, to change your memory, to walk with this transformed memory that you've created within yourself, you have left behind, that you've decided to see things differently with. Now you are different. And how does that affect the world around you? What other piece of this puzzle can you perform in the 3D today to make it so, to bridge it into your body, into your mind, into your emotions? Again, come back to the new way that you're seeing things, that you realized when you opened up at that floor number 2 through that elevator. What word or string of words, what is the new memory now? And how does this vision relate to that? Your higher self is showing you how you can be more of yourself, how you can bridge more of you to you. It's showing you what to do today. Seeing this vision in the mirror. Now, see yourself looking at this vision in the mirror, this movement, this whatever is happening on the other side of that mirror, and allow yourself from this side of the mirror to begin to copy, to begin to perform almost like a mime, the movements, the actions that you see your higher self channeling through you as this reflection in your mirror. Going through the motions of doing this now, through your mind's eye. How does it feel? How does it look? What are you doing? Feel the part of you on one side of the mirror with your reflection beginning to connect, beginning to join. The space between you becoming less and less and less until you are one, until the mirror disappears. You are that you are. You are that love. You are that truth. You are that courageous, beautiful version of yourself. Fully integrated. Again, you bow in namaste, knowing your higher self has given you medicine for this day to make your new beginning, to live life in a new, free of the past, embarking on new timelines in this reality and beyond. You whisper thank you. You turn, go back into that elevator with all of your spirit guides. And now there are no buttons on the inside of the elevator. The doors simply close and reopen. And as those doors open, you find yourself seated in the center of your heart again, and you join as if you can sit into yourself, that tiny version of yourself at the center of your heart. You sit into yourself and resume this version of yourself. And you take a deep inhale, filling yourself with love and light. And as you exhale, you expand that love and light all around you. And this tiny version within your heart begins to expand, 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 expand. And again, you take a deep breath in, filling yourself with love, filling yourself with light. And as you exhale, expanding that love and light, that truth through you, and feel that new memory, that new pattern activate through your DNA, through your mind, through your emotions, through the grids, through the tapestry of collective consciousness that we hold and we share here. As you see yourself differently, as you remember things differently, the world reflects that new memory. And one more breath, a deep, full inhale. And as you exhale, bringing this tinier version to yourself to its fullest maximal expanse and size that matches your physical being right here, right now, right here, right now. And so it is. Feel yourself directly connected to your higher self, surrounded in a bubble of love and a bubble of light. We thank our ancestors, our angels, those light beings who love us, our animal totems and spirit guides for joining us this morning. Changing our mind, changing our circumstances, changing our mind, changing our timelines, changing our memory, changing our timelines. And for the highest good of all, so it is. So it is. Take a moment to open the eyes, bring awareness back into the space. That was very, very deep. I certainly feel an altered state of consciousness. If you are still with me, I thank you so much. You know you can always come back and watch this meditation at the end later. I truly pray that everything serves you, knowing that you can change your mind, knowing that you can create new memories of how you see yourself and others of the past is a potent power. And while sure it may be magic, it truly is an innate ability that we all have, that we all have. And so let us be turned on, let us be activated by this ability to see things differently, to create new memories for ourselves and for others. Ultimately so that we can be free, so that we can enjoy this life here, unbounded by the past, by the pain of the past. Blessings, Lorraine. Yes, absolutely. Oh, wow. And there's some very interesting. Mix Anik is writing in, I don't know if that's Serbian or Russian. That is so cool, though. There's such an international flavor this morning, and I'm so very grateful. I'm so very grateful to all of you. Okay, there's a few more comments, so we're going to be wrapping up here shortly. Blessings, April. Thank you for being here. Blessings so much, everyone. That was a very powerful meditation. You know, at the end of these, I'm in it with you, but I often will come back and I'll listen to the meditation and just do it on my own to have my own journey. That was amazing, right? Those shields that we were as the versions of the warrior of ourselves, and then the shifting of that through changing our minds about things and alchemating, right? The presence of pain, those memories, and dropping whatever those amulets or shields were that were offering us protection and safety, not needing those things anymore, lightening our load and becoming the alchemist. And as that alchemist, connecting as that higher self and seeing our higher self show us what to do, where to go, what to say, and then embodying that, mirroring that back through the mirror. And for the highest good, bringing that here into the 3D today. I'm so very grateful again for all of your love and your light. I love you, I bless you, and I thank you, everyone. Namaste for a beautiful, beautiful day. If you are not subscribed at my actual website, go down to the description box, the show more box below. Go to my website and you will receive a copy of my mini book, The Higher Self, and you will also receive my monthly love letter. Check your inbox or your promos and your social, as it may not go directly to your inbox. Thank you again, everyone, all of the new subscribers, all of your comments, and this beautiful global community. I'm so very grateful. Namaste with so much love. And on a last note, I am very, very open. If you want to send me ideas, my email's down below. If you want to send me ideas of what you would like to be talking points and themes for this show, I would appreciate that. I'm very open. So namaste with so much love, everyone. Blessings. Blessings for an absolutely beautiful, profound, new timeline of a day.